Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Judy Fox, and I serve as a program manager for the Los Angeles Regional Consortium, commonly known as LARC, which represents the 19 community colleges across the Los Angeles region. And today's professional development session, AI is Your Study Sidekick, Smarter Tools for Better Learning, is part of an exciting regional collaboration between LARC, the Los Angeles County Office of Education, and Ingrained AI. We are also deeply grateful to the LARC AI and Innovation Professional Development Task Force for their leadership in bringing AI training opportunities like this one to our region. And their work will continue expanding access to high-quality AI learning for your professional development throughout the year. And now I am thrilled to introduce our presenter, Jen Garcia.
Thank you so much, Judy.
You're welcome. Just to give you a quick intro, Jen. Jen is the founder of Ingrained AI and the nonprofit Employ California, and she is a true innovator in AI education. Through Employ California, Jen helps job seekers develop the skills they need to succeed and to grow in the workforce. And through Ingrained AI, she's making AI training and tools accessible, ensuring no one is left behind in the AI revolution. Additionally, Jen is a former English instructor with 16 years of teaching experience who holds 3 Microsoft certifications, including the latest, which is Microsoft Certified AI Engineer Associate. And we're honored to have her leading today's session. So with that, I will turn it over to Jen to kick things off.
Thank you so much. I actually forgot. Yes, it's three. It's three now. And that's because of the help of these AI study tools, which I'm so thrilled to share with you today, actually. So let's get started. I love seeing your beautiful faces. So if you can pop on, for me as an instructor, it's so good to see that you are understanding. And if you're not getting it, I like to see that quizzical look on your face because that means Jen, either slow down or speak more clearly. So thank you so much for being present. I really appreciate it. I am going to make this time so valuable for you. I also will highly suggest that you take handwritten notes, just jotting down certain things you want to revisit later. And we'll talk more about why handwritten notes are really important moving forward in this presentation. But please do jot on a pen or iPad or whatever. I like using my iPad and paper all the time. All right, so wonderful to have you all here. I noticed that Vincent had said that he's here to teach his students, and then I have a mom here to teach her son. And I'm so excited about that because what our mom, who I actually didn't know which mom it was, who's the mom? Who's okay, Maria, what Miss Velasquez is going to be doing, and what Vincent is going to be doing is they are going to toggle on the protege effect. Everyone, protege effect, write that down. Protege, and it has these beautiful accents on ease, on the ease of that word. Protege effect means that when you learn something to teach it to others, you are going to learn it better. Because not only are you ingesting that material for yourself, but you're thinking, how can I communicate this to this audience? And you are transcribing it in your own mind of how to communicate it best to your audience. And what you're doing really is you're breaking down the information so as to explain it well to them. And so thank you so much for doing that for all of those in your lives this today. All right, so we have a lot to cover. I'm going to try to cover everything and let's go. Thank you again so much for my collaborators and partners in crime, my Narine and my and Judy Fox. Thank you so much. You both are stars, and I'm so glad to know you. All right, so let's get started. Here, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. As Judy already shared, these are the things I'm involved in, and greatly because of the tools that I've been able to use. And these are some of the groups that I've been able to share with in AI tools training. And I'm showing you this not only to impress you, because come on, I mean, I'm just kidding, but also because I want you to know that you are right on time in learning AI tools because all of these really cool companies and organizations, they are adopting AI tools thoughtfully and slowly and figuring out what's best for them. And so first, as we start and as you're on your journey, I want you to tell yourself, I am right on time. Every time you start to feel that anxiety of, oh my gosh, this new tool just came out. I don't know it. So and so is doing this. And I want you to calm that anxiety and realize that you are on your own journey and you're adopting these tools at the rate in which is best for you. Do you need to put some internal pressure on yourself? Of course, we all need to put internal pressure of learning on ourselves, all the things, not just AI tools. We want to have that internal motivation, but I don't want you to feel the I'm not on time feeling. So, everyone internally, I want you to tell yourself, I'm right on time. I'm right on time. All right. So, we're going to go through these various objectives. I'm calling these, instead of calling these workflows, because work, and study, I mean, we need to change that connotation as well. But we'll call these study flows. And we're going to be layering different tools on top of one another to get to our desired output. So, let's first begin by covering a quick little things here. Remember that you are adopting these tools responsibly, and so keep in mind the energy expenditure of water and power that is taking to power these tools. And so as you're prompting, you're not prompting willy-nilly. You are thoughtfully prompting and preparing your prompt as much as possible so that you don't have to have too many calls to these models. Next, I want you to see that in everything I'm teaching today, it's all about augmenting your own large language model, your moneymaker, so that you could not rely on these tools the next time you need to do this certain task. Now, with the research and the study help, those tasks are really helpful to use. But when learning how to write, I want you to basically approach these tools in a way of learning how to perfect your writing, how to develop your writing, rather than having it write for you. And I want to remind you of the breakthrough paper, "Attention is All You Need" by Google DeepMind. Attention is all you need. I'm bringing this up because they found that large language models need kind of a flashlight, so to speak, on the area of knowledge that you are requesting. They need to focus. Similarly to our own minds, right? We need to focus and remove distractions when we are trying to learn. And so keep that in mind as you're moving forward. Next, I want to show you this not breakthrough study, and we all know this, but the study that was conducted by Carnegie Mellon and funded by Microsoft that basically says if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. Now, we know this is true for our other muscles, but this is true for the most important muscle, in my opinion, in our body, the mind. And so as you are using these tools, keep that in mind as a part of your developing your AI values. I need to use these tools to augment my skills, not replace. And lastly, clarify your values when using these AI tools. Now, we're going to skip ahead and to overview the prompt engineering parts. I want to rest assured you will get this entire PowerPoint slide and you'll get the video too. And so you can, of course, I want you to take handwritten notes, but let's review these prompt engineering parts so that we could be on the same page as we move forward. Of course, we're giving the large language model its role, expertise, and these are various things that we've learned as we've learned to prompt engineer appropriately. But a couple of key parts I want you to keep in mind. Explain your reasoning. We want to use this phrase for the same reason we want to use this phrase here. Ask me 3 clarifying questions to understand my purpose better. Ask me 5 clarifying questions to understand my purpose better. These 2 questions will help us learn as we're using these tools. And I'll tell you 3 reasons why. Number 1, it reduces the chances of hallucinations. We know that these large language models are hallucinating a bit, so we need to be careful of that. 2, and it keeps us as the human in the loop. And so keep in mind the human in the loop aspect is really important. So we're reviewing all of the outputs of these models. Next, it ensures that we've covered all the elements of the prompt. And and you'll notice that when you ask these questions, it's like enacting that Socratic method. Ask me questions to get me to understand where I'm going with this particular prompt, where I'm going with my particular goal. And so you're basically telling ChatGPT, can you be Socrates for me just for a minute? And so that I could really get to the heart of what my goal is for this particular prompt. And then third, as you see those questions coming in, you see, oh my goodness, I didn't even think of that. That is something that I want to consider next time I approach this task, and your memory will be updated. So keep that in mind. Those three layered reasons are what make that question very key. Ask me clarifying questions and again, explain your reasoning. You get to see, are we on the same page? And wow, I'm learning. And so you'll find that that's very helpful. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to have you scan here so that you could have access to the prompts that I'm sharing. And I've also shared one demo video that I'm using as a part of these prompts today that you can review later. Any prompts that we cover that I didn't have in there, I will add after the fact. All right, I'll give another minute for that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to check out the chat. Okay. Yes,
And
yes.
Jen, would you please
Mhm.
explain hallucinations really quick for anyone who might not be familiar with that term?
Absolutely. Hallucinations are when AI models give misinformation. Now, they're not doing that on purpose. They're doing that because in the system message, they are prompted to give a response no matter what. And so far, AI engineer researchers, have not figured out how to get it to say, I don't know, because its primary goal is to give you an answer. And so sometimes it may create information that is not accurate, and that's why we remain the human in the loop in this asking the large language models, asking these AI tools questions. Every single output or response that we get, we are reviewing every single thing. And you'll see in Notebook LM that some of these tools are making that quite easy. And we'll see that in an example right now. Okay. Now, let's go back to that QR code just in case anybody else hasn't gotten it. All right. Now I'm going to be going from slide to slide here, or from desktop to desktop here. So give me some grace in that right now. And I'd love to see any questions that I can address after I take a little question and answer break. But also rest assured that we will be doing a question and answer at the end for about 15 minutes as well. All right, so let me grab this first. Okay, now we're going to start first with extracting handwritten notes and using that to learn. So notice I am copying this. I'm going to copy that. Okay, let's see. All right, share screen. And what I'm going to be using today is the free version of ChatGPT so that in case we don't have an account, we could see what what it can do in that with those free tools. All right. Notice we know it's the free tool because it's telling me to upgrade. Okay, so there we go. All right. Let's imagine now this is an example of our what we're trying to do here is we've taken handwritten notes and we want to understand the knowledge gaps that we may have in what we're learning. And so first, what we're going to do is we're going to pull oh, I actually shared the wrong one here. All right, we're going to pull the transcript from the YouTube video that we're querying. So if you could all see here, we have this YouTube video, best learning book in history. I've taken some handwritten notes from this YouTube video, and I'm going to show you um, a YouTube extraction transcript generator. So let me pull that up here, and then I'm going to show you here. Okay, great. Thank you for your patience. Share here. Okay. How many things open? There we go. As you can see here, what I did was I typed in YouTube transcript generator, or you can put extractor as well. Now, when you do that, you'll see a bunch of options. Some of them ask you to pay for the option once you use it maybe 3 times. And so keep that in mind that I jump around from these transcript extractors sometimes. So I'm adding our transcript here and I'm extracting it. Here's the transcript. We're going to copy that transcript here. Now we're going to go to our free ChatGPT. So I'm going to go back to our free ChatGPT and share that screen with you. Right. And now we're going to give a very simple prompt. Please, oops. Oh no, I'm writing here. Sorry. Okay. Please identify the knowledge gaps in my handwritten notes in relation to the transcription, the YouTube video below. So notice this is a very simple prompt. I didn't use the prompt formula because it's a relatively low stakes prompt. And so here, what I did was I took a picture of 2 handwritten notes that I took a picture of my handwritten notes. And what I did here, I'm going to see if I could show those to you. Okay, upload here. All right, notice that they are uploading. And so here, notice, I mean, it's not quite Dr. Scribble, but it's on that, it's almost there, right? And so here, these are 2 handwritten notes from the YouTube video. What I'm gonna do to show the large language model, this AI tool, that I am adding a transcript and I'm separating from the prompt, I'm gonna add these 3 hashtags as delimiters. Everyone, delimiters. This is how you spell it, delimiter. There we go, like that. A delimiter is a markdown language that helps the larger language model decipher between what is the prompt and what is the input or the few shot examples that you are providing. Now, a few shot example, shot is like the word example. So this is a few shot prompt where I'm giving an example from it to extract. So let's take a look at the output. Now notice this is just free form transcript. It doesn't need to have any of that information. So here, what it's done is it's transcribed my notes, it's compared that to the YouTube transcript, and it's giving me what my notes include well. And so awesome, nice little emoji there, the purpose of writing. This YouTube video is about why writing is important in learning. And so here, these are exactly what my notes say. And then here is where what's missing or could be expanded. Identifying these knowledge gaps are so important when we're taking handwritten notes in class, because there's a lot that we may have missed from the instructor, and there's some that we're not quite understanding and we don't even know that we're not understanding. And so here, a nice follow-up step that you can do is you can say, and so look here, we have suggested additions to strengthen our notes. We can add short bullets, etc. Very helpful, right? What do you all think about this? Let me see in the chat. Okay, fantastic. All right, so what I like to do to identify the knowledge gaps is please create oops, I'm writing in the chat there. Please create a knowledge gap quiz for me so I can study what I am missing, or however you want to frame that. Okay, yes, it is using OCR, optical character recognition. Hmm. And so imagine all the times you've taken notes and the notes are all over the place and you want to have them organized a little bit better so that you could use them for maybe a presentation, maybe using those notes for your own knowledge, upload to Notebook LM, which we will show right now. And here's our knowledge gap quiz. Okay, fantastic. And so I can go through these and quiz myself to see where I'm going, where I need help. And notice that ChatGPT is asking me if I want this in a printable or interactive format, like a Google form or PDF. Interesting, hey? Okay. All right. Let me see in your comments. What are some other use cases that you could see using this kind of flow for?
I think as I take notes as a student, I'm thinking to myself, I take notes in class and I probably could upload those notes, and just have it kind of summarize against the literature that I'm reading or my assignments. Again, as you kind of proposed earlier, to find out the knowledge gaps, to say, okay, well, I took these notes, I'm saying, is there anything that's crucial that I need to know about this content that I'm missing?
Absolutely. And if your instructor is also providing their slides, you can upload those too and identify that there, right? Any PDFs that are shared that are public. And it's important to confer with your instructor what is public information that can be uploaded into these free tools. Because as we know, these free tools, they're free because we are the product. And so we need to be aware that if it's someone's personal writing and they don't want it uploaded into ChatGPT, we need to be respectful of that. All right, now let's move on to the next one. We're going to do a workflow that shows you two ways of using Notebook LM. Notebook LM is Google's free tool. And a part of me was wishing that I was doing this presentation on Wednesday next week, because on Monday and Tuesday, Google is having their Google I/O large conference, and they're going to have a lot of really cool announcements for Notebook LM. So look out for that. That's coming. All right. And in fact, one of the announcements that they leaked themselves is you could download this as an app. It's going to be made available very soon. And so if you go to the App Store and you put Notebook LM, you'll see that you could download it and it puts you automatically on a wait list. So go to your App Store, Notebook LM, and it will put you onto the wait list. And as soon as it's released, you'll be able to access it, or it'll be downloaded on your phone. All right, so this next workflow is using Notebook LM to research, and then using Notebook LM to identify ways that we could, things that we can add to a speech that we're preparing for. Now, hopefully our students are doing a lot more speeches, because we know that is the best way to confer information that they're learning. I know it takes a lot of time, but, and it's nerve-wracking, but it's very useful. So first, let's share Notebook LM. And let me get that there. Okay. Now, if you'd like, you could go to, I'll share in this chat, or actually maybe Narine could share notebook.google there. And okay. All right. Now let me get my prompt here. Okay. All right. Now imagine I'm doing a research study on how, or I'm doing a speech on how nonprofits are using ChatGPT help with their nonprofit, with supporting their nonprofit. Now, our students are doing speeches on all different types of topics, but this is just a little example here. So when you go into Notebook LM, all you'll need is your Gmail to do so, and then click that button. I'm using my free Notebook LM here, and here's a number of Notebook LMs that I'll tell you about as extra use cases. Here, we can upload sources that we found by using either manual research. We can use Perplexity AI. That's Perplexity AI to do more research for us. We can also use ChatGPT's deep research to do research. We're able to use some of the deep research capabilities in a light version with free ChatGPT. Or we could use Notebook LM to discover sources for us. And we're going to use that element, that use case here. Notice that you could also upload from your Google Drive. So if you've transformed your handwritten notes into text, add it as a Google Doc, upload it here into Notebook LM. We can add websites and links, etc. So let's discover sources here. In this Discover Sources area, it's a limited prompt that you can add. I believe it's 500 characters. It's quite limited. It might be 500 words, but it's quite limited so far in what you can upload. Notice I'm just doing a very simple prompt. Find research on how nonprofits are leveraging AI tools. So here, what we see is Notebook LM is going to discover sources for us using Google search capabilities. And so here it is, looking for finding a lot of really great use cases or resources rather. And as the human in the loop, I'm going to go through each one, determine if this is a trustworthy source. Maybe I think, oh, it's a little too corporate. I'm going to take that one out, etc. So imagine I went through all of these sources to ensure that they're trustworthy sources, and then I import the sources. So as they're importing, notice that they're being ingested, and as they're ingested successfully, you'll see this little check mark. If you see a exclamation point, that means that it wasn't ingested, and you'll have to maybe upload it in a different format. And it's usually because the website isn't working. That's what I've found. Now, one of my favorite ways to customize and learn hourly through listening is to customize the deep dive conversation. And so here I could add that exact prompt, and I can add a little bit of information like my name is Jen, because if I want the podcast host to say my name when they're speaking, then I could do that there. And here I'm saying I can say discuss research on how nonprofits are leveraging AI tools. In the prompt area that or the prompt sheet that I shared with you, I'm going to share a few more bespoke use cases of prompting Notebook LM. Right now, I'm just doing a general one, but I'll share with you a number of probably about 5 or 6 ways that you could direct the conversation to a way that is best fit for your use case. So that audio overview is ingesting. And notice if we go to settings, we could change the output language. And so if your students or you like to learn in your first language and your first language isn't English, if it's one of these 100 languages, you can choose from these and have it teach you in those languages. I'm learning Spanish because my dad didn't teach me. And so I'm going to try to practice by listening in Spanish sometimes. And the default FYI is English. Note that if you are trying to join the conversation, at the moment, you can only join the conversation with the podcast hosts in English, but I'm sure that's going to change in the very near future. So here, when I'm creating these Notebook LMs, I like to click study guide, then briefing doc, then FAQ, and then timeline because I understand the order here. For some reason, note that these icons are not matching the study guide and briefing doc icons. So sometimes I'm like, which one did I toggle there? So now I'm doing it in that order. Notice that there's a mind map element here, so you can generate a mind map as well. Now, here for these, notice this here, this is a timeline. So here it identifies what it is. Here's the timeline that of all the different times that this has been used. And then we have a study guide. Now in this study guide, in a moment, I'm going to show you how you could use this study guide to extract key terms and use a tool called Anki Pro to study those key terms. So notice here, so I'm going faster this. We have a number of different points that are covered inside the research articles, impact measurement, AI and fundraising, and a quiz based on the sources. Now that's the key to Notebook LM, is that these Notebook LM is only covering these sources and nothing else. And so that's what makes it different and differentiates it from other tools. And so if we ask a question like, how can AI address key challenges? It's going to give us citations based on only the sources I uploaded. And so here's our interactive mode. We'll notice that the hosts will ask me questions or refer to me as Jen. And so we'll play that audio here. I think I have to share the audio again. Share sound. Okay. Oops. Okay.
Okay, let's unpack this. Artificial intelligence. It's definitely not just for the big tech companies anymore, is it?
Not at all. Nonprofits are really starting to
Oh, our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
Hi, I'm studying this right now, and I'm wondering how AI addresses key challenges that nonprofits face to enhance operations.
Oh, hi there. That's a fantastic question and so relevant to what we're diving into.
Yes, it really is. AI offers some very interesting solutions to common nonprofit challenges.
Okay, so you're curious about how AI tackles key hurdles for nonprofits to boost their operations. Let's unpack this.
One major challenge is definitely time and resource constraints. Many non
Now, what we can do is you can compare their responses here by clicking the area that they refer to in the citation. So when we click at that, we can click and open up exactly where we found that information, and it identifies within the source where we found it. And so when we are writing essays or when we are studying, we could refer directly to the various sources rather than having to scour over hundreds of research papers that we are looking through. Now, that said, I do want to note that going through the research discovery process is still very key, because the element or the practice of I want this, not that, is also using our critical thinking skills. And it's important to be able to see what's out there and then use these tools. So I would highly suggest that you stick with first manual and then using these tools to support your research process. All right, now imagine we've done all this research, we're preparing for a speech. Now I'm going to stop share and check out the chat here and make sure that I'm responding to the questions.
Hey, Jen,
Yeah.
so in the middle of their podcast that you created, you were able to interject and ask a question?
Yes, they have a feature where you could, sorry, I'm going over things so fast because I want to show you a couple other things too. You could press join and you could ask them questions while they in the middle of their podcast. And what's really interesting is after they answer your question, they transition really well back into their podcast. It's incredible. And what I'll do is I'll show you just a little quick overview of some of the other use cases. Now, notice you could have your students use this source to help them listen about themselves. So imagine they do a little kind of a little faux resume for themselves, and they talk about different projects they've worked on, different classes they've taken, and they could upload that little resume or a LinkedIn profile and ask and generate a podcast presentation based on that profile. And so here, I'm not going to share the sound. I don't think I share the sound here, but they'll talk about my career and different things I've done. And it's kind of nice to hear a little bit of encouragement, especially if you're a job seeker and you're like, I kind of want to just get a little bit of a confidence boost before I go out to do that interview. Another really great use case is grabbing that resume and the job that you're going for. So here, when I was sharing with the DoorDash group and with DoorDash employees, and we got a job description and my resume. In this case, I use my LinkedIn profile as a resume. And I asked here in the customize podcast, I said, my name is Jen, I'm going for this job. Please identify ways that I'm a perfect fit for this job, for this role, and identify any gaps and how I can explain these gaps using what I have in my background. And so that's another use case for Notebook LM beyond looking for using it for extracting information. So if you have a lot of policies, a lot of different documents to go through, you can use it to go through those policies and identify information from those policies. Okay. Yes, a pep talk from AI. Now, of course, you can use ChatGPT to do that too, but it's fun I sometimes hear from the two different podcasters. All right, now imagine I'm a student, I'm practicing my speech. What I suggest, here's a new workflow using, not new workflow, but here's a workflow or study flow extracting the transcript of your speech and asking ChatGPT for an analysis of your speech using that transcript. And so first, you would record yourself giving a speech on either your iPhone, your iPad, or your Android. Now, when you download that, be sure to have it downloaded as an MP4 because then you could extract that MP4 into extract that transcript. And you'll do so by using a tool like this MP to text online converter. Remember that this is a free tool, so anything you're sharing, don't. What I like to imagine is the advice my grandma gave me. Whatever you write down, whatever you say, she didn't say text, but whatever you text, ensure that it's all right to be displayed on the front page of LA Times. And so whenever I write or speak, I ensure that that is the case for what I'm saying. And so here is my speech that I'm preparing for. So I'm uploading that here and I'm going to pull that transcript. Now, what I like to do is I like to first write out what I want my speech to be about because that helps me process my thoughts. And then I practice green. I practice without practicing multiple times to identify right away what my gaps are so that the practice is effective and efficient. And so here I'm going to, here's my transcript. Okay, good. I accept the terms, whatever those are, and convert to text. So here it's converting the text for us. Now, what we're going to do from here is we're going to go to, if you notice on our prompt, I'm going to share with you our prompt that I have here. Okay, so notice here, if you go to that prompt sheet that I shared with you, I'm going to copy paste this prompt here that says, I'm preparing for a speech to AI nonprofit leaders on leveraging AI tools. Please outline the points in my speech and then critically analyze my speech, detect any gaps in my communication of key points, rate my speech, etc. And so I'm going to paste that into ChatGPT first so that I could, so that I could ensure that I am that I have that pasted in, and then I'm using my delimiters to separate from the transcript that I'm creating. So let's check on our transcript here. Okay. There we go. Copy that, and I'm pasting it in here. All right, so here is my transcript of my speech. Now, ChatGPT will identify those different areas. Notice it says updated saved memory, and it put this into my saved memory. You could manipulate this saved memory when you go into your account here. You go to settings, and you click on personalization and memory. Here I have memory toggled on. You could look at all the memories that it has for you by clicking manage memories, and you could go through that. And so notice it's giving me a breakdown of my speech and areas that I could could develop within my speech. So notice here we have our speech outline. We have critical analysis, gaps in communication. Here's my ratings. Ooh, look at my flow. Got to work on that. 6.5. And then I have a lot of filler words. This is a problem that I've identified for myself. And so I want to identify those within my speech. And then areas for deeper analysis that I can add to augment my speech. Now, what I can do, let's say I've done all those things, I've perfected the speech, and I've uploaded my new speech. What you can do here is, instead of having your students spend so much time on getting that presentation slide deck done and wasting their time doing that, you could have them rather pull from their speech to create slides. And so you could say, please create a slide outline. Let's say, well, seven slide outline of my speech. And then from there, after it gives you that 7-slide outline, you could get this 7-slide outline and upload it into a really great tool called Gamma app. Or if you type in gamma.ai, it will pull out the gamma.app. You'll be able to access that. And so here, I'm going to copy all of that and then share my screen in Gamma. In the chat, I want to see how many of you have used Gamma before. Let's see. Yes, Gamma is great. Absolutely. All right. So here I'm going to my Gamma app here and create new. I have 200 credits left. Oop, looking like I'm going to have to pay for that soon. And notice that we could use a presentation, web page, document, or social media. I would go through and not only review every single thing that ChatGPT output and add and augment it according to what I need, but I would also obviously take out these slide 6 identifiers here. And so continue, and then this presentation can be either we can augment it with AI generation, or we can preserve exactly what we've given Gamma to produce the slides on. I always press preserve because I've gone through each of these. When I use this, I go through each of the slides and I'm augmenting, I'm adding, I'm taking out, because the first output of these models for these study use cases or presentation use cases, they're not exactly right. And so we need to go through, be human in the loop, and change that. We can change the images, etc. So if we go here, we get to choose the format here. We can generate. All right. And then instead of using hours creating that PowerPoint presentation, we get to have it created for us. Now, again, as you're having these tools create these various presentations, you're going through each of these to ensure that everything is accurate. And so I probably wouldn't use this font. It's a little difficult to read. And I may change out some of this, some of the theme here, but notice how well it presents for us. So we can go back here and all the transitions are in, and so this one doesn't have that many transitions, but this is one of the tools that we can use to support creating presentations. Now let's move on to a little too futuristic. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. It's I would probably go for a more muted presentation. All right, so now what I want to show you is next we're going to go to showing how you could, let me go to my prompt notes here. All right, we're running out of time, so let me show you one more use case. How are you all doing? Okay, now here, what I'm doing is I'm pulling from this video that I created on preparing effective speeches with Notebook LM. I'm pulling the transcript of of the entire presentation. And then I'm going to show you in my own ChatGPT how let's see. Okay, let's go here. Shoot, excuse me. Let me go here. Okay. All right. I want to show you a great use case of prompting beforehand within the paid version of ChatGPT. Now you could do this with your own prompt within the free version too. So here in these are projects that I have within my ChatGPT. Here I have my AI learners ecosystem wherein I extract step-by-step instructions from the training videos I do. Notice that in the instructions here, I have, if I start the conversation thread with these symbols, this means I'm providing you a transcript so you can extract the step-by-step instructions that I give for my video's transcript. Now I'll share this prompt with you as well. And here I have it first itemizing any words that may have been transcribed incorrectly because I want it to identify and understand for itself what may not be accurate in the transcription. Then I'm having it provide a one-sentence description of the project, and I'm having it extract the learning goals for a mini project. So this type of giving a prompt like this that you use often when you're studying is really helpful because now when I go to my AI learners ecosystem, anytime I'm working within this file, I could paste the transcript and all I have to do is give my two symbols because that toggles on that prompt that I've already given ChatGPT to do in this particular project. So here, I'm actually using O3, which I should probably not use it because I want to use a more friendly tool. Let's just use 4.0 and edit message. Okay. I'm using 4.0 because this is faster and expends less energy. And this is a low stakes relatively, this is not a deep research task. And so here it's pulling all of that information that I asked it to pull out, and it's pulling all the learning goals that I'm trying to identify within that video. So imagine a lecture or a YouTube video that you're learning from. You can first create you can use this prompt if you like and edit it to extract the areas that you want to focus on within your learning process. And so here is the step-by-step instructions from that I want from that particular video. So imagine using this for all of those YouTube videos that you're constantly learning from. I know that I'm I'm using these, I'm watching so many YouTube videos. I'm not always able to take notes. I'm not always able to get all of the step-by-step instructions. And so it helps to be able to do it using this tool. Now, there's a lot more I wanted to show you, but I hope what I showed you so far is helpful. I'd love to hear some questions before I give you a little bit of ways to learn more from videos like this. Yes, please. Go ahead and jump in, Vincent.
Yeah, Jen, thank you so much for the presentation. I learned so much, and I'm always amazed every time I see these being presented and kind of different use cases and how kind of people approach these different types of tools. So thank you for that. My question for you is, with so many products and programs being created and just evolving, and it's just moving so fast, and I think that we're all aware of that. How do you sift through what's most effective for me as a student? What should I use? For my note taking, there's probably like 100 now, right? For the synthesis of my literature, what should I use there? So what's your strategy in kind of narrowing down what's most effective for my person in terms of like the AI tools that I'm using?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to, and that's a great question for multiple reasons. Number one, all those tools that you're talking about, most of them, the majority of them, I'd say probably like 99% are built on these foundation models. They're built on OpenAI's ChatGPT, or not ChatGPT, rather, that's the product. But the model that powers the product is 4.0, 4.1, 02, 03, etc. And so what those tools are doing is they are merely creating a prompt to do the thing for you. Now, as we all know, we need to become expert prompt engineers for ourselves. And so I highly recommend that students identify what they need to learn, itemize those things, and create their own prompts and iterate on that prompt. So as I said before, with that one I used to extract information from the YouTube video, I've built on that prompt. When I see some output, I'm like, oh, actually, it's missing this. I go in and I extract that. I also use tools within the GPT store, the prompt engineer GPT. So after giving all I know that I need for my prompt and asking the clarifying question, I'll use the prompt engineer to make that more robust. And then I'll use that rather than using these study tools, because again, all those study tools are doing is producing a prompt for you and getting you the result. So rather than that, sidestep that, because the truth of the matter is that most of these tools, unfortunately, are not going to be in business in the next year. And that's because what these large language model providers are doing is they want to be the one go-to source. So rather, you learn your prompting well. And why is that important? It's not only important for you as a student, but it's important for you as in your new role once you enter the workforce. If you know how to prompt engineer well, you will be incredibly valuable to your workplace. And you will be a knowledge, you'll be able to share that knowledge and be a trainer within your workplace. Yeah, great question. Excellent. Now, what I also wanted to share is that beyond it is a lot of work to prompt and get to the exact iteration. And you'll find that it's not a one and done. You're going to be iterating multiple times and growing your ability as the models develop. And so one thing I'll show you here is we'll go back to ChatGPT. This is the paid version. I'm showing you my paid version here so that you could see the different models. So this is the model that ChatGPT uses default for free. This model is going to be probably sunset very soon because 5.0 is coming out in the summer. It might come out next week because OpenAI is always trying to one up Google, and Google is having their big announcement. So OpenAI always gives us some really great things. Here with advanced reasoning, these are available with the Plus and Pro version. And what these do is more deep research. So it's the same deep research that you have access to, but a more robust version. And so keep that in mind that when you are using most tasks, these are fine, and these are for deep reasoning. And when you toggle these on, they'll ask you clarifying questions to understand your purpose better by default. And that's because they're trained to do so in order to not expend a lot of energy or API calls for the company. Okay. Yes, ChatGPT Plus is free for students through May. Yes, awesome. Okay, now I'm going to wrap up by resharing my presentation screen. All right. Okay, so here's a way to stay in touch with me on via LinkedIn. And because I've taken so many of these certifications, I've decided that I need to create my own ecosystem so that I could basically give these tools in a more share these tools in a more accessible way. And so what I found is the problem with all of these tools is they are really expensive, they're static, and they're not layering the tools on top of each other in order to get to the best output. And so and lastly, they're only focused on one area that is not exactly what we need. Maybe, of course, we want to know AI for business, but we also want to know for personal use and learning and educating others. And so my AI ingrained ecosystem is doing exactly that. And I'm sharing with I'm not speaking as quickly as I have in this presentation, but I am sharing a bit more slowly and through very short demos so that you're able to learn and practice right after. And so if you're interested in joining in applying to join the AI Learners ecosystem, please do QR code this. And it's 12:01, so I've gone over a minute, but thank you all so much for the opportunity to present to you. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing your use cases moving forward.
Thank you, Jen. That was amazing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.